put you on Baligian.
What up, this is Drake Bell here on the Baligian and Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network.
Yo, what's going on? Welcome to the Baligian and Bell Show. But you know what? Damn, let us commandeer the show 3 times in a row. What's going on? It's Kory Woods. I'm here with the legendary Terry Foster once again. What's going on?
I'm excited because you got stories today. You over here cracking up and cheesing and everything. I want to know what's going on with you.
I don't know if I would call it cheesing.
No, you cheesing, brother. You're like... Like, okay, he got something for me.
I was cheesing because one of my friends put me in a good mood because for the story I got to tell, I had to get put in a good mood because I don't know if anybody noticed today. I was kind of struggling this morning because of what happened to me this weekend.
Oh, okay.
This weekend,
did you get beat up?
Well, how about I beat my damn self up?
Okay, because if somebody beats you up, I'm going to kick their ass right now.
Well, you might want to kick. Well, you might want to.
So I got to kick your ass for kicking your ass.
Exactly.
Oh man.
All right. So here's what happened.
All right. What's up?
It's embarrassing. I know somebody probably gonna clip this and send it to the pastor because I kind of lied about what happened a little bit.
Oh, you lied on Jesus. Huh?
I know. I think
I gotta go. I gotta go. I can't stay here.
All right. So here's what happened. I volunteer in the church on the weekends. I'm part of the church production crew. So. Setting up for pastor's photo shoot, right? He asked me to take some photos for him. So I'm going back and forth, right? Taking photo equipment out my truck into the church. So I'm looking down at my phone, right? As I'm walking back, I'm looking down at my phone. Now, there's some lumber sticking outside of a pickup truck parked in front of the church. Okay. And I got to cross pack from the parking lot, go past the truck and whatever. So I'm looking down at my phone, looking at something I'm not supposed to be looking at, especially going into the church.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that happens.
And as I'm walking, boom! I smacked my head on the corner of the wood. And I reach and I grab my hand. I'm like, damn, what the hell just happened? And then I pull my hand back, and his hair. And I'm like, wait a minute, what? And then I start feeling, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be all right. Then I feel the wind, and I'm like, wait a minute, feel a little, like it's a little hole or something. So I go in the bathroom of the church.
So you knocked your wig off?
I knocked something out. So I go back to the wood. I'm like, wait a minute, let me see how hard I hit this thing. Is there any blood or any chips or anything like that? I go back to look at the wood in the back of the truck. It is literally follicles of my hair still on there.
So it took a patch of hair out.
Took a patch of hair out. I ended up doing 2 photo shoots still that day because I'm still a photographer.
Did you cover it up? Because I don't see the bald spot.
It's like if you come up on it, you will see it. It was just like almost perfect impact. It was just like I hit it in a perfect spot.
So you skimmed the wood.
I skimmed the wood, but I just hit it hard enough to make my head swell.
Damn, brother.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I was able to still finish that photo shoot when I did another photo shoot. After I did the second one, I started like, all right, I ain't feeling right. Went to urgent care. Urgent care was just like.
So you concussed yourself?
I concussed myself.
Dude, brother.
At the end of the day, that's what my hospital said. It was a concussion for real.
Wow. Okay. Now let me lecture all of you young people. All of you young people in these damn texts. You don't pay attention to what's going on. I'm behind you, but you sort of deserved it.
I deserved it. I shouldn't have been looking at my phone because I was mad at myself the whole weekend because it was totally avoidable. Yeah, the thing is, the photo I was looking at was of a friend. They were modeling their clothing line, and Yeah,
it was a woman that you were checking out.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
So obviously, you said there was a clothing line. They must not have had too many clothes on because Jesus got you.
Jesus got me. Like the Lord came down and struck with furious vengeance. So yeah.
You know what? Jesus gets you now and then. You don't know it.
You don't know when, but he came.
You were being dirty, not paying attention, and God said, "Okay, we're gonna punish Kory a little bit. Now we're not gonna kill him, but we're gonna punish him a little bit."
And the thing about it was, I was just randomly scrolling. It wasn't like I just went straight to that page, but still scrolling on my phone. Like, oh, okay.
Okay, I tell you what, I applaud you for doing God's work, but the lesson is when you're doing His work,
do His work.
You got to do His work, and you got to be focused.
Yeah,
you do more than me. I'm proud of you, but you got to be focused, brother.
Yeah, well, trust me, I will be focused from now on, looking in all directions, and this thing right here, yeah.
No, you won't, because America, and you are an American, is that correct?
Yes.
Addicted to those things.
Yeah.
I get yelled at because sometimes I put my phone in the basement on the charger and I'm upstairs and I don't pay attention to it. And then when I do, people are just cussing me out. Man, I texted you like 5 hours ago. I texted you yesterday. What are you doing? I'm a jerk. And so we're attached to that. That's kind of like you wear jeans, you wear a shirt, and you have your cell phone.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to be checking out dirty pictures, though.
And the thing is, I wasn't even really on. Yes, I'm not making any excuses for it. Not making any excuses for it. It was just like I was just randomly just scrolling my phone, going back in, not paying attention. I'm like, oh, wow, boom. It was just like a focus. So yeah, got me good.
Let me ask you: if homegirl was here right now, would you be trying to, get with her?
Man, you know what? I'm gonna plead the fifth right now and save myself from self-incrimination. But I did share the story.
Did she look good?
Oh yeah, it wasn't nobody ugly, but I shared the story with her. Me and her had a really good laugh about it.
Okay, well, you know what you should do? You should get her to put your hair back.
What you should be doing is sending her the hospital bill. That's what you need to be doing.
Hey, no, I jokingly told her. I said, "Look, I got to get something on this. I concussed myself looking at your photos."
And you went to urgent care.
I went to urgent care first, and urgent care is like, it's too much swelling. Go ahead and go to the hospital. And luckily, I went to Berkeley urgent care, and it's like about 2 minutes away from Beaumont.
Bro, when you go to urgent care, you can get COVID. Oh. Just saying.
You know what? That Berkeley urgent care is a rapid center, but I did have my mask and stuff on, so yeah.
Yeah. Got concussed and COVID in one shot. Damn. Damn, son.
2-for-1 special?
Because you're checking out a girl in a bikini at church.
And I wasn't even, the thing is, it just happened to stop right there. I'm just really just scrolling and scrolling because I still have Twitter and Instagram duties. So I'm just scrolling and scrolling, and then it's happened to me.
What would have happened if you would have passed out and his phone would have been
I literally just told my friend that this morning. I said, just imagine if I knocked myself out over a post at church, and as they pick my phone up, it's nothing but butt on the screen.
Yeah, I know. Dude, if you had done that, man, that should be in the newspaper. Dumbass Kory knocked himself out checking a bikini shot at church.
9 times out of 10, when Joey hears this story, he's going to make me dumbass today tomorrow.
Yeah, Joey's gonna be on you, man.
Yeah, he's going.
You should have. Yeah, Nah, I was gonna say you should have kept that until tomorrow, but then Joey just get you the next day. It doesn't matter.
But hey, let's go ahead and get right into it. Michigan making the Elite Eight.
Yeah, making the Elite Eight and looking good. Now, to me, I could be wrong. There's 2 teams left in the tournament.
Okay.
Gonzaga and Michigan.
Yeah.
The rest of them, Baylor maybe a little bit, but. Both of these teams look great. Both of these teams could be national champions, and both of them deserve to be, but only one could win it, obviously. And I'll make a confession. When I saw Gonzaga play during the regular season, I said, you know what? They can't win it. You know why? Because they don't play defense. Now, during the tournament, they're like shutting folks down. They're like, okay, we serious about this right now?
You know what? I was not a big Gonzaga guy myself. I just looked at them and I was just like, okay, they're all right. But these past couple of games, they have really showed that they deserve their number one.
But let's be frank.
Okay.
The reason we thought that was Gonzaga. What is the Gonzaga? Stuck way out there in Spokane, Washington. If you're in Washington, you don't even want to go to Spokane.
No.
You want to be in Seattle or some other places. So, to me, I'll admit, I looked at Gonzaga. It's the name, the location, and the fact this is not Duke or North Carolina or even Texas Tech or anything. So I just kind of dismissed them a little bit. And they didn't play defense. Now, these boys are like, they're serious. Okay, I read some stories on them, and there's a lot of pressure on them out there, even in Spokane, because Gonzaga built itself from the little team that could, the cute little team that made the Sweet 16, and we're like, hey, the cute little guys, you pinch your little cheeks. Now they said, no, we want to go unbeaten and win a national title. They put that pressure on themselves, and so when the tournament began, in order to do that, you've got to change a little bit. You can't just go out and try to score 80 or 90 points. You got to shut some folks down, even if it's for 5 or 6 minutes. And that's what they've been able to do. And Michigan has been playing boom zoom defense. That's the name I just made.
And that's what I just wanted to get into. Michigan's defense these past couple of games have just been phenomenal. It seems like that switch happened in the second half against LSU, where they just locked in defensively and they just all of a sudden gelled, and they have not. They just been on a tear since. And I want to get back into that in just 1 second. Give me one moment. Oh man, Art's
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys and ladies. This is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Yo, this is Woodward Sports, and it's the Baligian and Bell Show. Kory Woods and Terry Foster filling in for the guys while they're taking a much-needed break. And, you know, sorry about that, Art. I set you up so badly. That is my fault. I just have to apologize
You're good,
for that.
man. You're good.
You know, I don't want to have you out here looking bad. But
No, you could blame anything on the concussion. Literally.
yeah, hey, you know what? Everything falls under the concussion today.
All day today, like if Stick's like, hey, did you get that done? Just be like, I'm concussed, man. You having me here is a blessing.
Yeah, that's
When he's passed out in the parking lot, concussed. Tried to make my car, couldn't do it. I'm concussed. Damn, why did you cuss out the boss? Concussed. but you know what? Politicians do it. Why did you make that racially insensitive remark? One dude said, well, because of my diabetes.
I remember that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, Roseanne blamed it on Ambien. So, yeah,
Right.
I mean, anything's possible.
I mean, hey, what Papa John's took 20 months for it, so yeah, whatever. I mean, that's something different. but yeah, Michigan, yeah, like I was just saying before we went to the quick break, Michigan's defense, ever since that second half, they just against LSU, they just locked in and had that switch, and I've been seeing them just come together. I thought when Isaiah Livers went down, I thought that was just like it took some of the morale, some of that oomph out of their offense and just their whole team. But they've rebounded and they've regrouped, and Juwan Howard has them locked in. And just looking at some of these stats from how they play against FSU, they locked them down and drove a quick wedge in that second half. Florida State shot 46%, Michigan shot 70%. They were 0 for 7 from beyond the arc in the first half. Well, both teams shot pretty poorly from beyond the arc, but Michigan just imposed their will in the paint and on defense, and they're looking like a team that I thought they were going to look like when they were going on before Livers went down.
Yeah.
They looked that strong. But,
All right, let me cut through the bullshit.
Okay.
Wagner is playing like a brother. He is. Now, you don't expect white dudes to be blocking people's shots, crowding the passing lanes. dunking, showboating and stuff. That's what he's doing.
He had some swag out there with some of the moves that he was doing, especially when he was attacking the rim. It was just like it was real silky to me. It was real silky smooth.
Right.
He had a little bit of 7 Mile in him.
Yeah, he does. Or somebody Mile. Oh no, Dexter Davison. He way in the hood.
Oh, Dexter Davis.
Dexter Davison. That's where he is. Oh, Belle Isle. Irma Henderson Park. That's what he looks like he's playing.
Oh, that's near that's Irma Henderson Park. That's stick stomping grounds.
Yeah, that's where they call him Darko.
Now, what did you think about the whole the coaching matchup between Juwan Howard and Leonard Hamilton? They were talking about, Juwan Howard played under Leonard Hamilton his last year with the Washington Wizards, and how he's developed a relationship with the family and the kids and whatnot. I thought that might have played a factor into not necessarily.
Here's what they won't tell you on TV, because every coach is good. A coach should never be fired. A coach is always doing a hell of a job. But they won't say this. Juwan Howard is a better coach than Leonard Hamilton. Okay? Already. He's just out the box.
What did you see from Juwan? What did you like about his adjustments in this game with the Michigan team?
Well, one thing I like to see a little bit more, and we went to. I want to see him pound it inside to Dickinson. He's still got it. He's letting everyone have their moments, have their spotlight and everything. But I would like to see him. So okay, we're gonna pound it into this dude like 4 or 5 times in a row.
I mean, they did have 50 points in the paint against Florida State. So to your point, they need to go ahead and go with that more. Brandon Johns Jr., I just did not like his game. He shot 50% and got the 14 points, but he had like a little funky looking game. It looked like he was just.
Right, but now he's different now. I'll tell you why you didn't like his game.
Okay.
Where you from?
I'm from 7 Mile.
You from 7 Mile. You didn't like his game because he's from Grand Rapids. Everybody from Detroit looks, if you're from Grand Rapids, you can't play. So he's got to win you over.
Well, you know what? I don't even want to say he's got to win me over, because when Livers went down, he was the guy who I thought was going to go ahead and step up. He even just said it before the game that my confidence is at an all-time high. And then when he started bricking them dunks, and I'm like, okay, you sure your confidence at that all-time high? And looked like he was. I hate to say it, but I said it earlier. One of those turnovers, it looked like he was almost having a Blue Chips moment.
Yeah, my man missed a dunk too.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Dunk, yeah. But we all have bad moments. Yeah. Even me.
Even me.
Well, especially me. No, but we all have bad, especially, here's the thing people don't understand about sports. You get the guy who's an electrician or something. If I did a crappy job like that, I'd be fired. Okay, when you go to work, is anybody trying to prevent you from doing your job? No. Am I up here talking over you, cussing you out, and giving you nuggies, trying to mess you up? No, we come here and do our jobs. In sports is the only profession or the only thing I can think of when you go to work, somebody else is over there trying to prevent you from doing your job. So I think, sometimes you have to give credit to other teams, but at some point you got to take over enough to win a ball game. That's what Johns did.
All right, yeah. If you guys are just tuning in right now, this is Kory Woods and Terry Fox. We're filling in for Baligian and Bell. Terry, question: UofM, Gonzaga, which team looks more impressive to you?
Gonzaga does.
Why?
By like this.
By that much?
Yeah. I think they may have more pros on their team, and or guys ready to become professionals. Maybe they have the same amount, but Michigan's pros are young, they're freshmen, they're sophomores, and Livers who's not playing. So that may be because I can envision more Zags in the NBA than I can Wolverines in the next year or two. But when you look just at what's going on in the court, it's a coin flip. Probably if you're from Washington, you probably say Gonzaga's playing better. And if you're from Michigan or the Midwest, you'll say Michigan is playing better. By the way, the only team east of the Mississippi still playing. Now, basketball is an East Coast game. When you look at the traditional powers, not East Coast, but Eastern part, North Carolina, Duke, East Coast, St. John's back in the day, Kentucky, Florida has won a couple national championships. The East. The West is kind of like the JV. Not this year, though. And I attribute to COVID. COVID has just screwed everything up. The country's messed up. Basketball is messed up. Football is messed up because of COVID. So, so Michigan is still standing. But, you know, really, I have to say, you know, it's probably a toss-up between those two. And those are the only two teams I see winning this championship.
You don't think USC has any shot at knocking Gonzaga out?
No, I don't. I don't think they have a chance. I just think they have too much depth, too many weapons for USC.
Well, we're gonna see. I'm of the mindset of that. Well, I didn't even have Gonzaga getting this far. When I did my first bracket, and was my only bracket, I thought it was going to be Michigan and Illinois. I just thought that. I was like, who has Gonzaga played? Nobody really stuck out. Nobody of any real significance stuck out to me because I believe they're in the same conference as BYU, and I'm like, who did BYU play?
Yeah, BYU was kicking their ass in their last game. So I watched that game because I thought BYU was going to win, and then Gonzaga just like, bam, see you, fellas. We're taking over now.
So for Michigan to win, let's say Michigan and Gonzaga meet each other for the whole thing. What do you think it would take for Michigan to knock off Gonzaga?
I think it's going to take a huge game from Mike Smith. He's going to have to control the play because Gonzaga's guards are good and they can choke you down. But if he can run the show and get it inside to Dickinson, and Dickinson doesn't have to have a great game, but if he can have a productive game, then I think that would be enough right there. And obviously you have to hit threes. College basketball is so simple now. If you hit threes, you win. If you don't, you lose. So I include that in there too. But and you know, Michigan's defense has to be just a little bit better, which I think it is. It's a little bit better, but Gonzaga's offense overall is probably a little bit better.
I think what's going to be the key for Michigan winning the whole thing is going to be that backcourt of Mike Smith and Eli Brooks. I think if they don't have to put a whole lot of points on the board, but if they play the way they played against the Seminoles, where they were just making the right plays, playing stingy defense, and getting those clutch baskets, I think the front court of Dickinson and hopefully get some production off the bench from Shawnee Brown, who has just been playing phenomenal. He's been stepping up and filling that void that with Livers being out. I really don't see how Gonzaga will slow that down.
Yeah, and Shonda is doing it on both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
When you look, you know, here's what I'm impressed by him. When he's on defense, I look at his footwork, and he's like a tap dancer.
Yeah.
Those feet are moving. He's in position. A couple guys have gotten him. Some kid from Florida State took him to the hole. But for the most part, once those feet are moving and he's locked in on you, you dead.
That's the one thing I do like about him. He has, in the last 2 games, he's always found himself in the right position to get up, get the ball, and just get up that quick shot that they need to either pull ahead or just kill the other team's momentum. So, Michigan tomorrow against UCLA.
All right, I got one for you, brother.
Uh-oh.
Michigan is playing Gonzaga.
Okay.
And the game is coming down to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want taking that last shot for Michigan? Who's got the ball?
I'm gonna be honest. It's gotta be Franz. For me, it's gotta be, because to me, I don't see anybody on the team outside of probably Brown that just has that moxie to just go ahead and pull that last shot with the confidence needed.
Franz seems to like the last 4 or 5 minutes anyway, so
yeah,
that's probably it. I have more confidence in him than Dickinson, even though Dickinson is probably going to do a baby hook or something.
Yeah.
But I still think Franz is going to say, you know, I'm hitting this.
Because the one thing about Franz is that even though he's good from beyond the arc, he's not gonna just settle for any shot, whether it's a jumper, whether it's a 3-pointer, inside jumper, whether he has to take it to the rack. He's gonna make the best play. So I would trust him with the ball in the last minutes and to take that final shot. That's just me.
And he's playing like a brother. He's got swagger, and you
and
know what'll probably happen? He'll probably block the shot on one end and then come down and hit the 3-pointer to win it. That's how he's playing right now.
Hey, he's playing like a brother who everybody in the state loves right now. But you know who is not a brother that people in the state like? Blake Griffin. We're about to get into him in 1 second.
Interest rates have started to fluctuate, so now is the time to call Hall Financial. You don't know what is going to happen, so be smart. Make the call now while rates are low because you can be saving money. Hey, Terry, I'm doing a live read, Terry.
I'm sorry.
Come on, Terry. Hall Financial is fast. They do all the heavy lifting for you, so go to davidhallmortgage.com now to get started. Hall Financial, lower payments, better options, more personal attention. Back to Terry and Kory.
Hey, man. I'm concussed.
Shut up.
I'm concussed. I'm a concussion protocol. So I'm taking the blame for everything.
That was me. So I'm concussed.
I'm taking the blame for everybody today. It's cool. It's all on me. But
so your boy got his 2 dunks. So you must be thrilled.
I'm not thrilled. I just knew it was gonna happen. But if you don't know what we're talking about, guys, we're talking about Benedict Arnold himself. Blake Griffin, who got his way out of Detroit, not mad at it. It was time for a buyout.
So why is he Benedict Arnold, man?
He's Benedict Arnold because you may not watch wrestling. You may watch it, but remember that it was a skit or a promo where Kevin Nash, who was from Detroit, was in his wheelchair, and he was outside the arena, had his leg up, thought he was just like, oh man, he's all broken down. Nobody thought he was going to go in the ring, whoop ass because he's in a wheelchair. Then what happens? He takes the blanket off, and it's a fake leg that's propped up, and he stands up, tall, and he just runs in the ring and starts kicking ass. That was Blake Griffin.
Okay.
You guys didn't see it. The Pistons played the Lakers. Not the Lakers. Ooh, concussion. The Pistons played the Nets.
He was supposed to go to the Lakers.
He was supposed to go to the Lakers.
Right.
The Pistons played the Nets on this past Friday, and yeah, Blake Griffin that wasn't even the first dunk he caught. He did a little putback dunk, and then after that, he went and caught that oop from James Harden. Now, the putback dunk, it looked a little ugly, little funky, and I'm like, okay, he got the one dunk. You know, that's cool. He can still jump. But then when he got up for that alley-oop, I'm like, oh. And then as he went back to the other side of the court, he mouthed off to the bench, I still got it.
Okay. Here is my take on this, brother.
Okay.
Believe it or not, the Pistons are a bad basketball team right now.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you need motivation just to go out on the court for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's with a team that has a shot at winning an NBA title. All of a sudden, your blood is boiling a little bit more. Your eyes are all wide open. You're like, okay, I can see a prize at the end of this. When you're in Detroit, all you're doing is playing 82 regular season games and going home. At some point, you say, okay, I'm 30-something years old. What do I have to give? Then all of a sudden, it's like, hey, I'm in a new situation. I see the Larry O'Brien trophy down the road. I can get that. That motivates you. Okay? I think Blake Griffin, more than the money, the opportunity to play for something motivates him more. And Let's face facts. He didn't have anything to play for here.
I'll say this to his credit. When he was traded here, he was the consummate professional because just 5 months prior, he signed a new deal to stay with the Los Angeles Clippers. They held the fake jersey retirement ceremony. Right. We're going to do this. You're going to be a Clipper for life, and, you know, all the bells.
Kind of reminds me of Isaiah Thomas. Remember, he's a Piston for life, and they got rid of his ass right afterwards. Hey, if they tell you you were a Woodward Sports Network person for life,
run.
Oh,
no.
Run. Something bad is about to happen.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. All right, look. Me and Art just shared a moment. We've got eyes got bigger.
Kory, if they start
said it.
If they start talking about they want your picture on the wall or something like this, decline it. Because something bad's about to happen.
Fame. But no, I see what you mean. Nothing really here to play in Detroit. Nothing to play for here in Detroit. But again, Blake came to Detroit. He was a consummate professional. He did the job up until he couldn't do the job anymore. And I called him Benedict Arnold just for the simple fact that when he was playing on the court earlier this season, he looked like a battered down player. He looked like the game was too fast for him. It passed him by. He couldn't get any lift at all. He was taking threes just because it looked like he couldn't put the ball on the court. Now you're seeing this guy put the ball on the court. Looked like he's 15 pounds lighter. It was just like, if that Blake would have started the season, I'm not saying the Pistons are going to be a title contender or anything like that, but they could be better off than what they are right now.
You don't want them to be better off. You want them to get the #1 pick. Blake Griffin.
So he did us a favor.
He did you a favor, but here's the other thing, is when you're older and you're playing the NBA and you get some time off, all of a sudden your body's feeling pretty good. It's like, hey, I can sprint up and down the court here. What's going to happen if they play him every day, which they probably won't, he'll be broken down a little bit. He'll look closer to the Blake Griffin that you saw here in Detroit, but better than the Blake Griffin you saw here in Detroit.
Well, I think he's going to be better in the sense that he's going to be getting less minutes. He's going to be coming off the bench. They're going to ask him to be a small ball center, so his role is going to be less demanding than it was here in Detroit, because in Detroit, he had to be the man. Mm-hmm. Now he has to be the fifth, sixth man.
Right. He doesn't have to play stressful minutes.
Yeah, he's a role player now.
Right. He doesn't have to be, okay, Blake, we got to have you now. He doesn't have to play. Because in the NBA, believe it or not, even though these guys talk so much shit, some of these guys, when you say, I want you to take a shot in the last 10 seconds of a game, it stresses them out. And they don't really want to do that. And it hampers them a little bit. For instance, some dudes, they can swish 20-foot jumpers in their sleep. Tell them to do it in the last 10 seconds of a game, that basketball turns into a pumpkin. It's like, oh, whoa. Man, that hurt. So he doesn't have to do that. Come in, give us 8 to 10 minutes in the first half, 8 to 10 minutes in the second half, sit his ass down.
True.
So he can last the rest of the season, look refreshed, and even dunk a couple times a game.
If you guys are just tuning in to this is Woodward Sports, this is the Baligian and Bell Show. This is Kory Woods. Me and Terry Foster are filling in while the guys are on vacation. Things got a little bit chippy out there between them.
Yeah.
Between the Pistons and the Nets. Looks like Blake Griffin and Isaiah Stewart, Beef Stew. Yeah. Things got a little bit chippy, elbows thrown.
You know what I think happened? I think at some point during some practice or something, there was a little snickering, because guys gossip. Yeah. Women are not the only ones who gossip. Shh, we do too. I'm sure somebody said, Blake is looking old. And you know what? Blake couldn't do anything about it.
To that point of him looking at the bench and yelling, I still got it, I still got it. Because they were throwing some elbows. It didn't. It looked like they weren't even ex-teammates at one point.
Yeah, I know.
It looked
like somebody said something to Blake or around Blake, or he heard it through the grapevine.
Could have been all three.
Yep, could have been.
Have you ever seen anything like that from previous Piston teams, Lions teams, where things got a little bit chippy and the guys returned back?
I think Louis Delmas. Louis Delmas played for a safety for the Lions, came back.
I have no kind words to say about Louis Delmas, but continue.
Oh, you don't like him?
I just, me and my cousin have a little running joke about Louis Delmas about, yeah, Louis Delmas was this, he was that. I'm like, yeah, when he's healthy, and that's a big if.
Louis Delmas and I had I don't call it a confrontation, but a situation in the dressing room.
Okay.
So I think he was pissed at me because of a story I wrote about him and Tony Scheffler. Delmas is black, Scheffler is white. So Scheffler would call Delmas a nigger in the locker room.
Wow.
So I wrote about it, quoted Delmas and everything. Then it was such a huge controversy, it kind of made national news. The Lions investigated, trying to see if I had made this up or if Louis was joking with me when he told me that. He wasn't joking. I wrote the story, and so I think he was a little pissed at me. So when the Miami came in, the Lions beat them, and we were waiting for Delmas to get dressed, and nobody asked the question. So I asked the question, is it tougher to lose a game in front of your boys than just a regular NFL game? And he just kind of looked up at me. He just left, said nothing. So that was the whole thing, and everybody's looking at me, says, what's going on here? I said, I don't know. Brother just left.
Wow. That is odd.
So I didn't think my question was that ridiculous. It wasn't. I got in trouble for asking it was a rookie running back. I forget which one it was. It wasn't Cedric Irving. But he said, we're going to win a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm. And
so I'm like, I responded, this year? Like that. So everybody got pissed at me, but I was like, you play for the Lions, you're going to win a Super Bowl this year? So I was an asshole for the way I said it and for doubting this dude. What? They didn't win the Super Bowl. They didn't even make the playoffs that year. So, but that's just part of being a journalist. You get in trouble.
Man, you know what? I want to switch topics real quick because I was, after I went ahead and had my little concussion situation, I went and met up with my mentor, Rob Parker. If you guys don't know, Rob Parker, former Detroit news journalist, big in the city, has several business establishments.
I was actually supposed to show up, but I didn't get permission from Dr. Fauci yet because I haven't had the shot for 2 weeks. So she's keep your ass at home. You're gonna go out and get COVID, blah blah blah. So I didn't fight her.
As me and Rob and everybody was at the table, or just all talking and kicking the can and whatnot, and Rob was talking about you, and he said he noticed your involvement with Terry Foster. He said her at the
he said,
Sport.
are you involved with Terry Foster?
Just like that.
Yeah.
And then he said, man, Terry robbed me. I'm like,
I don't want to hear this. I already know what it is.
And I'm like, what? And he's like, Terry is the first time I got robbed in the city of Detroit. So he went and pulled up his phone, and I'm going to get into how Rob Parker robbed Terry Foster next.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand. Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech. Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
What's going on? It's Art here to tell you about my bookie. If your bracket's busted, well, don't worry. You're pretty much like everybody else. No one has a perfect bracket, right? But they're never busted when you bet with my bookie. They have all the games you can bet any way that you want. Parlay, straight, against the spread. There are thousands of lines and prop bets on all games. Do yourself a favor. Get a head start by signing up today with the promo code Woodward. That's all one word, Woodward. And they'll match your first deposit halfway up to $1,000. That's free cash credited to your account instantly on top of your deposit. Best part is you'll always have access to the action whether you're at home or on the go. Visit online with the website mybookie.ag or on your phone. Use the promo code Woodward to grab yourself a deposit bonus. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.
Yo, what's going on? This is the Woodward Sports Network, and you're watching the Baligian and Bell Show. This is Kory Woods, Terry Foster.
Kory's spreading lies. Go ahead.
All right, so let's get back into it. So like I said, I was meeting with Rob and his in the gang this weekend, and we were at the MGM Sports Lounge, and we were watching the UFC fights. You know, I was actually watching Art, Art just once again, bravo. You do a hell of a job with the MMA. I watch all of your stuff, and I didn't really start liking MMA that much until I started watching Art because he's just so animated and into it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Good for him. Yeah, passion goes a long way in this business.
Yeah. So we were watching the fights. I think it was what was his name? Who's the guy that the black when the black guy got cleaned?
Worthy?
Yes.
Worthy against
when Worthy got cleaned, Rob brought up a story about how Terry Foster robbed him. So apparently, you two had a 3-round boxing match.
Let me set this up because you already got his crappy story. We did a charity boxing match at the Palace.
Yep.
And they gave us these big gloves. They were like 16 ounces or something like that, and you had to grab hold. So anyway, you know, Rob was at the Free Press and I was at the News. So they said, would you fight Rob? I'm like, gladly. So we go in and we have this boxing match, and I cleaned his clock for 2 rounds.
Oh.
Beat his ass. And Michael Moore, who's a former heavyweight champion, was the referee. Between the second and third round, you know, they were giving me instructions during the whole thing. Between the second and third round, I think Emmanuel Stewart was in my corner. He said, all right, you proved your point. Don't kill him. I said, all right. So I was just, in the third round, I was tired anyway. So we were just kind of, I made sure that it was like an even round. So then afterwards, you know, everybody's, T won easily and everything. And then I could see the sparkle in Rob's eye. I knew he was up to something. He said, wait until you read the paper tomorrow. I'm like, what? He said, I got robbed. I said, no, you didn't, dude. Man, I cleaned your clock. The only thing I robbed you of was your dignity. So he goes and writes this column about how he got robbed and
I was hoping he had sent me. I texted him because I was trying to get the picture of the article because he showed me the article where he got robbed.
I got a photo of us together. But I wasn't mad about it because that's what Rob does. He's funny, he's humorous, and he likes to, you know, do stuff like that. But your man T won the fight easily.
Easily. Oh man, I got now. Would y'all go round 2? Part 2?
I want someone to have video of that. Because Rob was saying, oh, I wish somebody had video. I said, no, you don't want anyone to have video of that. I do. Because then you would see how I just decimated your ass.
Who else was on the card that night?
It was a full, I don't know. There was a bunch of boxers from Detroit and everything. And then, like, near the end, they had me and Rob. But we weren't in regular boxing gloves.
Yeah, I heard you guys. He said you guys had like the super oversized.
The super oversized ones, and we had to grab hold of something inside of it to keep it on. And they wrapped it around us. Those things were heavy as hell, man.
I'm sure the experience was fun still, though.
Oh, it was fun. It's fun being in front of. I mean, it was probably about 15,000.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's a nice crowd.
That's a good crowd.
Hey, well, Rob, I asked him. You told me to bring it up to him. I brought it up to him, and we got a different story.
Yeah, that's right. And I wish there was video. There's somebody emailed me a long time ago and said, well, I actually taped it. I'm like, well, give it to me. Never heard from the guy again.
We got to find that video. I'm going to be on a personal hunt to figure out how to find that video.
You got connection with the Pistons. Maybe they got it because it was at the Palace.
You know what? I will say this, from my intern days, they have everything on tape still. So maybe I can. I'll ask.
Ask Peter Scorich.
Ooh, is he still there?
No, he's not.
I was saying.
But maybe he's got in his back hip pocket or something like that.
I'm like, man, I haven't seen. The last time I seen him was the last time I worked at the Palace, and that was with 08.
You know what my nickname for him was?
Uh-oh.
Scoreboard. Because he was in charge of all the
game day operations.
Yeah, game day operations, operating the scoreboard, all the noise and the music and everything. And that. So I just called him Scoreboard.
Nice. He's a nice dude.
He is.
He's one of the nicer ones there. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
You know what? You don't have to say it. But I met a bunch of people that work for the Pistons and non-players. I felt sorry for those people because they worked their asses off. They had to work all day. They had to go to the games. They couldn't leave early. Then they had to be back at the Palace early the next morning. Then it was like yard dogs.
Oh yeah, like I remember the intern.
You don't have to hang yourself. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm not hanging myself with this. I'm just saying on the intern days. I know I'm an intern, but still, getting there at 7 in the morning, and then you leave on the 7 at night. That's cool, but on the game day was tough. It was just like get there at like 7, and then you're there until like game day. You might be leaving there about 11:30.
Did you at least get some free pizza or something?
Okay, here's what I will say. Pistons media dining, second to none.
Is that the only dining you got?
Oh yeah,
it was good, but I'm saying that was your reward. Media dining.
Oh, for like the meal wise, yeah, but like reward as an intern, the credits.
No, it was of all the NBA teams, the Pistons were the best.
Of the teams in Michigan, this professional teams in Michigan, those were of the ones that I've been at. Pistons have the better media dining.
Oh yeah, they got professional chefs, man. It's not. Yeah, that's real deal stuff.
I know, like in the NBA, I think they said in the NBA, I think the best media dining is the Dallas Mavericks, because I remember Kevin Garnett telling a story on his podcast about how Mark Cuban is the one who started feeding the home team and the away team. So
I covered it before Mark Cuban was really the owner. Mm-hmm. So the best NBA media meal I ever had was in Seattle. They did the seafood gumbo. It was outstanding. But the other times I went, it was just like, it was cool. So the Pistons are always, you never knew what you're going to get there. The worst things they got would be like hamburgers, which in some places would be the best thing.
Probably say my worst experience was, I'm gonna give them a pass because it was COVID, and I don't want to get myself in too much trouble. But man, at Ford Field for the Lions, media dining was fine. But man, when I had that popcorn they had, I literally thought I was about to pass out because it was so salty.
Yeah, that is salty. You're right. It's like
it was just like
they don't do like this.
Yeah,
they
just poured the whole thing on there, and I'm like, did I get the wrong kernel? And then I had another one, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I gotta throw this away.
They're trying to kill the media.
They're trying to kill the media, but luckily these ladies did not face any type of pressure or any type of death or anything like that, because UofM women's basketball team, they had to make an emergency landing. We're going to talk about that in just 1 second.
Welcome to Crumble Cookies. It is Joey from Woodward Sports, and this is my new favorite spot where I like to spend my time because they have the best cookies I've ever had in my entire life, and you won't regret coming here and trying them. Located off of Rochester Road, right next to the Imagine Theaters in Rochester Hills, it's Crumble Cookies. Come try these delicious cookies. They even got their own app. They got curbside pickup. They got delivery. You won't regret it. Just come try for yourself. You'll thank me later. I promise.
Grow Green, Michigan, the world's largest family-owned indoor garden center, buys in bulk and passes their savings on to you, the growers. Score insane deals like bags of Roots original soil for $10 and gallons of Fox Farm Big Bloom for just $40. Grow Green has over 1,000 pallets of soil in stock from brands like ProMix, Fox Farm, Dairy Dew, Nectar for the Gods, and Because. Go where the pros actually go. Go to Grow Green on M36 and Whitmore Lake or online at growgreenmi.com. Mention Woodward Sports for a free t-shirt. Back to Kory and Terry.
Yeah, thanks. All right, you guys are watching the Woodward Sports Network, and you're watching the Baligian and Bell Show. I'm Kory Woods. This is Terry Foster. Before we get into the Michigan women's basketball team, right now, Detroit Lions general manager Brad Holmes is speaking to the media. He has a couple of quotes I want to. That are going over on Twitter right now.
Okay, I thought you were gonna go live there or something.
Oh, I wish I really, you know what? I was trying to figure out how I could do two things at once, like go ahead and do the show right now and then still be in the virtual Zoom room and have my AirPod in the other one. But I said I'll just go ahead and just wait till we get a couple of quotes out and then.
Well, because you tried to do two things earlier, and
it was a cluster. It was a clusterfuck to say the least. So let me just.
So maybe you should do. Let me just one thing at a time.
Yeah, let me just crawl before I walk. But we're definitely going to get into some of those Brad Holmes quotes in a second. But man, scary situation with the Michigan women's basketball team. If you guys are not familiar, they had to make an emergency landing in Evansville after
almost beating Baylor.
After almost beating Baylor and. Just reading a couple of quotes. They were losing the plane lost some pressure. They were flying through a storm. They were returning from San Antonio after they lost to Baylor in the overtime game, 70-75. And right there, I don't know if Art has it, but there's a picture of all the ladies on the plane. You can see the smiles through the mask. And I mean, hey,
those aren't smiles. Those are sighs of relief.
Yeah, even better. Yeah.
And Michigan had the problems, I think it was 2017 when they flew to the Big Ten Championship in Washington where the plane skidded off the runway and with the men's team.
That's okay. Me stick referenced that earlier today. What is it with Michigan and those planes?
I don't know, man. Maybe they need to – it was Delta. I was going to say maybe they need to fly Delta, but, yeah, I think they do take Delta down there.
Oh, wow.
But, we're having very strange weather across the United States. It hasn't hit here, thank goodness, but I think they had to fly through the weather, and they had to have the oxygen mask down there. But it just kind of happens. You never know. Most flights obviously are safe, and there's nothing to write home to mom about. But sometimes things get a little messed up. Now, you fellas here, we have Art here who's never been to opening day. You don't know how to multitask at church. Fish, I don't know what's up with Fish. Have you guys even flown before?
Oh yeah, I've flown.
Okay, have you had any scary moments? Because I have.
I was just about to get into that. So, during my when I first started here, I already had a vacation I was already pre-planned that I couldn't get out of. So, I was leaving Miami, and as we were leaving Miami, back it up. When we were in Miami, they were talking about it was about to be a tropical storm, and they were, my flight was supposed to leave on Sunday, and they said, okay, I woke up on Saturday morning. I'm like over the bed like this and look at my phone. I get an advisory from Delta saying, hey, flight advisory, flight might change, whatever. So I changed my flight to get out the inclement weather, leave that day. Me and my friend, we're on the airplane, waiting to take off. And the pilot says that it's too bad outside for us to take off. And we look outside and it's a monsoon. My friend was already does not like to fly. So she was pretty petrified. Okay. So we're waiting the plane about a half an hour. Pilot says it's good to take off. We take off. For about an hour, I did not know if we were going to make it out. I've dealt with turbulence. I fly. I don't say I fly all the time, but I fly enough, so I know what turbulence feels like. That was different. You ever been on you get on any thrill rides at Cedar Point?
I'm not a thrill ride guy, but I've been on them.
What about you, Art? Do you get on any thrill rides? Okay, so are you familiar with the The demon drop.
That's one that I will not get on.
That is exactly what it felt like. I know what turbulence feels like when you drop. This was like the demon drop. It was just like we're up, do, and everybody on the plane just kind of looked at each other like, yo. It wasn't even like, when it was a little couple of bumps, everybody was like, kind of the gas. When that went, everybody was just like quiet, like.
Yeah. I had that happen to me once before. I was flying to funky Nassau, and we were on Bahama Air. No turbulence, no clouds, just a beautiful day. We're going to Nassau. I'm gonna have a couple drinks and sit by the pool. All of a sudden, this thing just dropped, and I'm talking about for like, it had to be like 5 seconds, and I couldn't breathe. I was like, scared the hell out of me,
man. And look, I'm again, my friend hates to fly. When that dropped, I had to. She was looking all nervous and scared, looking at me, and I'm all cool. I'm like, yeah, we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right.
But inside, did you grab her hand?
Yeah, we grabbed her hand. Like, we gonna be good. Inside, I'm thinking like, what the F is going on? You had to see it. It was just.
You know what I hate when you're flying, and I've gone in tropical storms, and I'm used to the plane going like this.
Yeah.
I hate when it goes sideways, because I don't understand what's going on. Why is this thing going sideways? That's too weird for me.
I don't know if I've had the sideways one yet. If I did, I might have been asleep.
Thank God. Now, I had a weird one. Have you ever heard of Ozark Airlines?
No.
It's out of business. Anyway, I went to visit.
off rip, I don't know if I want to fly Ozark if they ever come back.
I'm going to tell you a story about 2 airlines that are no longer in existence, TWA and Ozark Airlines.
TWA.
I went to visit friends of mine that lived in the middle of Missouri. It was some Army base or something. So I fly TWA to St. Louis. Then I'm supposed to fly Ozark Airlines, and their planes are like this big. So we get on this plane, and first of all, the flight attendant, thank God we had a flight attendant, because there wasn't enough room to maneuver the carts up and down the thing. So she just gets on the plane and says, "No, this is not going to work." I'm like, "What do you mean it's not going to work?" She said, "Oh, no. She said that too many people are on the left side of the plane. She had to move people around, or the plane wouldn't take off." So that freaked me out. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. I've never heard of this before. Then we're flying into Butt Jungle, Missouri or something. So the pilot says, "We have a problem." I said, "Okay, why don't you just land it? You didn't have to tell us."
Yeah, right.
He said that he's not sure that the landing gear is locked.
Who want to hear that?
I said, "Well, you didn't have to tell us that. Just land the plane and then explain why there were skid marks all over the place and why it was a rough landing later. I don't want to be panicked for the last 10 minutes of my flight." He says, "Well, we're not sure. I think it is, but I'm not sure because the light is not on."
Okay, look, if we're in the air, I don't need the... Okay, look, whether something is going on or wrong, if you're a pilot watching this, don't tell me I think. I need to hear I know. I need assurance that everything is going to be okay. And if something is going wrong, there are ways you can mask there's a problem without telling me that there is a problem. If you're telling me that there is a problem while we're in the air, you're going to freak not only me out, you're going to freak everybody else on the plane out.
Well, he said he did it is because we had to have a foam landing. And a foam landing is they put all this foam on the runway. It's this pink shit. It was all over the runway. And what happens is you can land a plane on the belly, but you can't have the sparks because the sparks can ignite the gas tank.
Yeah.
So what he said, I just wanted to warn you guys because we're going to have a foam landing in case the landing gear doesn't hold up. So we're flying around and around again. And so my man comes in for a landing. So I'm like this. So we land. The wheel, it was a perfect landing, except this foam just went all over the place. The wheels were locked. It was if it wasn't for the foam on there, it would be just another landing. But that one scared the heck out of me. And another one, this scared my family. I flew, and I don't know why I did this. I was covering a Big Ten football game, and normally I just drive to the cities. But this one, I didn't feel like driving. I was lazy. So I flew from Detroit to Chicago and Chicago to Champaign, Illinois on Continental Airline at night during a storm.
I remember Continental Airlines.
Yeah. So anyway, that night we're on this flight and it's just bouncing all over the place. Boom, boom, boom. Well, that night a Continental flight crashed, but it was in Denver or close to Denver. So my family, all they knew is I was flying Continental, so they were worried about me, and for like 2 or 3 hours, and so they thought that I could have been on that flight. I wasn't, but I was on the flight was probably worse than the one where the plane crashed, because this thing was just bouncing. And once again, it's a little tiny plane.
I can't do the little tiny planes. I just can't. I did some work for a friend and for the ACC kickoff a couple of years ago, and I'm not complaining. They paid for my flight, but
okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. But I took an American Airlines flight back, and I was looking at the plane. I'm like, where the rest of it? Because I mean, that plane only sat like I want to say maybe 30 people, so it was a small joint. And when we were in the air, we felt every gust of wind.
You know who's a jerk? Me. I'm a jerk, and I'll tell you why. When I covered the Pistons, Drew Sharp and I and this guy named Dean Howe would fly together all the time. And Drew hated prop planes. And so we were in Sacramento, and we were going to, the next game was at Golden State. So normally we drove it. It's like a 2.5 hour drive. But, you know, once again, I was lazy. I didn't want to drive. I said, let's take a plane. He said, is it a jet? And I said, yeah, it's a jet. And I knew good and damn well it was not a jet. They don't fly jets from Sacramento to San Francisco. So anyway, Drew's at ease now because, well, I don't want to take this flight, but at least it's a jet. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we go to the airport, and we go to the gate, and there's no plane. And he said, well, where's the plane? Where's the plane? I said, we got to take a bus to the plane. Then he's like, why do we have to take a bus to the plane? I said, they didn't feel like bringing it up to the gate or something. So we go out driving the Sacramento airport in this bus, and we approach this plane out in the middle of nowhere. It looked like a loaf of bread with a cone at the end of it. So he's like, this is not a jet. And I said, yes, it is. It says jet right on the side of the airplane.
Don't make it a jet.
Man, this flight was so bumpy. I mean, I swore I hit my head on the top of the ceiling.
Oh, yeah. See,
and he hated me for like 4 months. Wouldn't talk to me. He was pissed at me.
Hey, I mean, I would be the same way too. But hey, you know what? If you guys are just tuning in, this is Woodward Sports Network. This is Kory Woods. It's Terry Foster filling in for Baligian and Bell. I want to go ahead and get to some of these Lions quotes. Right now, the Lions are speaking to the media. General Manager Brad Holmes and head coach Dan Campbell. Dave Burkett of the Detroit Free Press joins the show every now and then. I'm going to read some of his tweets. He was talking about, Brad Holmes was talking about Kenny Galladay. Brad Holmes mentions the depth at wide receiver and asks about Kenny Galladay not returning. Says he wishes Kenny Galladay the best in New York. Happy he got the deal that he wanted with the Giants. It's been so interesting how they're just so real. They talked about the other players leaving. They were real cool with Stafford leaving, but you know, with Galladay, it seemed like there's some real friction on him leaving out there. We heard a few things here, but with him, it just seemed like they just wanted to wash their hands with him so quickly.
You know what? I think Kenny Galladay didn't want to be here. Not saying he faked an injury, but he could have shown up at practices more often than he did. I think Kenny Galladay was one of these guys that we don't know about. He pulled the Barry Sanders and the Calvin Johnson. I want out. Get me out of here. Because he turned down some big money here. I heard some of the meetings between him and coaches was contentious at the end. That the brother just didn't want to be here.
Yeah, same thing we heard here. Same thing we heard was he heard some he had some diva-like attitude.
Yeah.
And just few questionable antics when he did happen to show up to the practice.
That's true. Now you're a real He-Man, right? What happens if you're going out with a woman and she becomes a diva? Do you put up with it or do you fire her ass?
I can't put up with the diva. A woman being a woman, natural, but being a total diva, I can't deal with it.
So I think that's what Kenny Galladay did. He said, I don't want to be here. I'm going to be a diva. Fire me. Get me out of here.
And that's exactly what they did. We're going to get back more into some of these tweets from Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell speaking to the media in just one moment.
Start a new career in an industry that is always essential. Talking about the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. Concussion, Kory, you there?
Just looking at this. No, I'm here. But I'm
there
looking
he is,
at
looking
what
at
he
his text
said.
again. He's about to run into some wood.
Nah, I just can't believe what Brad Holmes just said.
Well, he
All
quit?
right, so no, that wouldn't have shocked me. But no, all jokes aside, Brad Holmes. Here's what Dave Burkett said. He said, Holmes said he's a big fan of the secondary currently in place, but Lions will continue to try and address that position in free agency and the draft. It's not going to be a position that's not a position that's going to be overlooked or ignored. I am confused how he can be a fan of the secondary that's currently in place.
Well, you know,
is he just talking good?
There's certain things you have to say, but I will say this. I don't think the secondary is as bad as we think it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a quarterback patting the ball, looking around, because there's no pass rush, he'll scorch any secondary. And I think the Lions were a victim of Matt Patricia saying we're going to have a bend but don't break defense. We don't want to put pressure on the quarterback. So the secondary ended up looking like chumps.
Yeah, here's some more quotes. Lions GM Brad Holmes said he's doing from Dave Burkett. Lions GM Brad Holmes said he's doing legwork to prepare for trading the number 7 pick, but there's players that we really, really feel good about and staying where we're currently at, and we feel comfortable selecting. So they're doing he said they're doing the legwork to potentially trade. What do you think about that?
Excellent. They need to trade out of that. There's been a lot of movement with the top 6 picks. I think the Lions can get the player they want at 10 or 11. They need assets. They need second-round picks, third-round picks. They need everything because they are devoid of talent. And you know what? On your behalf, I threw out a test balloon this weekend. Told people, don't be shocked or don't be upset too much if the Lions draft Kyle Pitts. And if they stay at 7, they'll probably do that. Now, the dirty word is Kyle Pitts is listed as a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
People freaked out. No, we can't do this. We've already gone through this with Ebron, and you don't draft 3 tight ends in the top 10 in a 7-year period, which you don't do. But I just kind of threw it, and people don't want that. So I think the Lions would be better off maybe dropping down and getting that defensive player that may not be a top 10 pick, but is a top 12 pick. They need to do something with that defense.
Well, you just spoke about Kyle Pitts, and Dan Campbell, who's now at the podium, he just mentioned Kyle Pitts. He said about Kyle Pitts, he's a different bird. I think he meant breed, but he's a different bird.
No, he meant bird. He's weird.
He's a different bird than what a traditional tight end has been, or certainly the traditional tight end has been, or certainly has been when I played. I mean, the guy Pitts 6'6", 220, and he's
I think
might
he's
be
240.
Yeah,
I think he's 240, and he looks like a freight train.
Yeah, I mean,
It runs like one. They might pick him, brother.
I think I am not against the Kyle Pitts selection. I like it because whether you want to line him up as a tight end or a wide receiver, he is going to be the mismatch that they need. Goff needs weapons. Now, with all due respect to Rashad Perriman and Tyrell Williams, those guys are not going to be the weapons that are going to get it done. I just don't think they are. Now, Steve Brown, he's in the comments. He just asked, "What have you heard about Micah Parsons?" Micah Parsons, I personally have not heard anything about him, but after seeing his pro day, his stock is rising. Do you think the Lions will go in that direction of taking him?
Well, if this is the new Lions, they will pick him.
Okay.
If this is the old Lions, they'll go buy him because Parsons has some issues.
Yeah.
And they don't like that. They have passed so many good players because they smoked weed or they did some other things, and Parsons has some issues. If this is the new Lions, they'll pick him, but if it's the same old Lions, they'll just let him go.
Well, I know Dan Campbell has talked about having a certain toughness in his locker room. I think the
No. Here's what he means, and he won't say this. You need a certain amount of assholes in your locker room, particularly on the defensive side. You need guys in there that when you walk in the locker room, it's like, I don't want to talk to him because he might hit me, he might trip me, he might smack me. The Lions need more of those guys.
Okay, so to that point, Micah Parsons has had some questionable activities surrounding him. He apparently took a part of some hazing practices with a former teammate. I mean, whether anybody's against that or not, does that kind of speak to some of the craziness, the toughness that, Dan Campbell would want in his locker room?
Right, and for the most part, he's not going to haze another NFL player.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, that's.
But if that NFL player allows himself to be hazed, it means he doesn't belong in this league. And Parsons is doing your job for you,
getting him out of there. I personally would not be opposed to the Lions trading back if they could get some, another first-round pick next year and get another second this year. I believe that was a deal that was potentially proposed by the Athletic a few weeks ago. The Lions will trade picks with the Washington football team. Had to remember that. And
I hate that, by the way.
Yeah, the Washington football team, they would go. They would take 7. The Lions would go to 19. They would get a second and then get another first next year. So they would have 3 first-rounders next year, and then 2 after that. Still from the Rams deal.
Right.
So,
but that's what they need, man. This roster is bad.
Just get more players.
Get more players. Even if they get a whole bunch of third-round picks, I'd be okay with that. Because if you draft right, you can get some quality players in there.
Well, they got Brad Holmes there. They have John Dorsey.
Right.
And so you got 2 guys who have proven track records of knowing how to run a draft board, of how to find talent. If people are not familiar with what Brad Holmes did, in that 7-year stretch where he was the director of their scouting, he scouted 25 Pro Bowls for that team. For John Dorsey, he built, he helped build the Green Bay Packers, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Cleveland Browns. For the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, Clay Matthews, Greg Jennings. For the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, even Kareem Hunt when he was there. Went to the Browns, brought Kareem Hunt over there, drafted Baker Mayfield, Denzel Ward. OBJ didn't really work out, but he still went ahead and got him. Jarvis Landry. He's shown that he knows how to pick talent and draft talent. Maybe can't pick a head coach worth the damn, but you got those 2 guys over there. Hopefully they don't just all of a sudden come to the Lions and forget how to do the job that they've done elsewhere.
Well, if the Lions allow them to do their job, then they'll be fine. Now, what happens with the Lions sometimes is ownership will say, yeah, I know what you're thinking, but we want a quarterback, or we want a running back, or we want this. And so it screws up the game plan. So what they need to do is if Mama Ford comes in and says, we really need this position, and the coaches and the front office are not feeling it, they need to say, get your old ass out of here. We're doing our thing.
You know what? I want to touch on the Mama Ford thing in a second, because there's a question I want to ask you as it pertains to what we're talking about right now, and we're going to get right back to that in one moment.
You don't put the ball at work. Hey, Drake Bell, Sean Baligian. See you guys next weekend.
Thanks, mate.
Oh, Bell's soft. Wait till it comes to New Zealand. Pour that out.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in to the Woodward Sports Network. You're watching the Baligian and Bell Show, but Woods and Foster have taken over. Don't know how long this is going to last, but I'm enjoying it while it is. What about yourself?
I'm having a good time. You're a good guy and a good guy to talk to. I got my man over here and Fish. And
got the fishbowl going. Let's get back to
Mr. Peabody, all the guys.
Let's get back to the Mama Ford scenario. So we know that Mama Ford took a step back, and now the daughter, Sheila Ford Hemp, is running things. We talked about, are the Lions going to allow Brad Holmes, John Dorsey, Chris Spielman, Dan Campbell to do their job and get things done their way? Do you think that with this new regime, they finally take a step back and let the men or women who they've hired do their jobs?
Okay, I might be a fool, and I know if this doesn't work out, everybody's going to, T, you said you believed in her, and she messed it up again. I believe in Ford Hamp. I believe this is a woman who's as embarrassed about this organization as we are. And she's not going to step in. She's going to say, you do your job. I did my job by bringing you in here. I believe in you. So now make my team better. The only thing that scares me about her is she has not mentioned the two words that I'm looking for: championship team. She's into the, we want to make our team competitive. We want to win games. We want to be winners. I do not hear we want to be a championship team. It's the only thing that scares me. Other than that, I love her. I'm glad it's her. I love what she's done. I love the fact that her and her team did a national search for a change. And they didn't hire friends. They didn't hire people they liked, and they didn't hire people that made them feel good or gave them, back rubs and stuff like that. They got what they thought was the best people for the Detroit Lions. And I'll tell you one thing. Here's the one criticism Dan Campbell's receiving. Well, he has very limited head coaching experience. We're not sure about his X's and O's. But I'll tell you this, from going into that locker room for many years, particularly the last few years, that team was in need more of a person that they believed in rather than someone who was an X's and O's genius. Because, let's look at Caldwell. Jim Caldwell was not the best X's and O's guy, but they believed in him.
Yeah, to your point about Jim Caldwell, when Matt Patricia was fired, me and my cousin talked about this. I know players come out and they talk about, the coach wasn't this, the coach wasn't that, former players, whatever. Two things I saw. One, I never seen so many former players openly disrespect a coach and GM immediately after news broke out of them to get fired. I've never seen that before in my life.
I did before. And then the guys that did, they got rid of.
Yeah, anybody that challenged Matt Patricia got the boot. That's one thing I saw. And on the flip side, you just mentioned Jim Caldwell and about being a leader. I was looking at some of those former Lions players' posts, and I looked back at some old things when Jim Caldwell got fired. One thing I saw is that was almost a common theme. They said that Jim Caldwell taught them more than the game of football. He taught them how to be men, and said that they would, to this day, they said, I'll run through a wall for that man.
Right. And the way I viewed the Lions, I thought they overachieved under Caldwell. Yeah, he made bad decisions at the end of games, but if they didn't believe him, they never would have been in position to either win or lose those games. Now, since 2000, there's only 2 coaches that these players really respected and liked. One was Jim Caldwell. Do you know who the other one was?
Jim Schwartz?
No. Joik might have liked him, but universally they liked Steve Mariucci.
You know what, Mooch? I thought Mooch would have been my second choice, because I didn't think that he was a bad coach here. I thought he got a raw deal here with with the roster that he had.
I don't care if you're Vince Lombardi. If you are coaching under Matt Millen, you're going to fail. And players thought that if they had better teammates, a better system, that they would have won under Mariucci.
And you know what's interesting is Mariucci and Mariucci and Matt Patricia, they had similar records. Look it up. They had similar records, and that's how I was able to predict when Matt Patricia got fired. Because I was looking at him like, okay, they fired Steve Mariucci after this Thanksgiving game loss, and this was about his record, and this is the same trajectory that Matt Patricia has. So if they lose this Thanksgiving game, he should be fired.
Right.
He should be, because Mariucci got fired on a Monday. So I'm like, okay, Matt Patricia should be fired by Monday. They one-upped it and fired him and Caldwell on Saturday. So
players felt they let Mariucci down. Under Matt Patricia, they felt disrespected. They felt like he didn't have their best interests at heart, that he came in knowing everything, thinking he knew the culture here, which he didn't know, and he came in being Bill Belichick. And before he was hired, when his name was rumored to be the Lions head coach, I talked to some of my friends in the NFL. They said the thing he cannot do, he cannot come into Detroit thinking he's Bill Belichick. It doesn't work, because they're coming off of Jim Caldwell. Not saying there was popsicle breaks and everything, but there was a respect there. It was a gentler nudge, a mutual respect. Now, when you come in, all of a sudden not respecting these guys, then you're in trouble. And that's pretty much what he did.
Yeah, I just felt, as a fan of at the time I was a fan, I felt insulted when Matt Patricia said that he had to come here and fix
Right.
everything. It was insulting my intelligence, I should say.
Right.
Because
But on the other hand, I got a critical question to ask you.
Okay.
Were you mad at Darius Slay when he basically pissed on the organization, Patricia, and they decided to trade him? Were you mad at him?
I wasn't mad at Darius Slay.
Were you mad at Golden Tate? Because Golden Tate was okay.
Nope.
Then good.
Nope.
Because a lot of fans were mad at them because they felt they were upsetting the apple cart. But what they were doing is they were pointing out, we've got problems, and it's this dude is the problem.
Because the thing about it was, I saw it coming. That's why I was not mad at them, because I was of the mindset, and I was still this mindset to this day. You want to fire Jim Caldwell at that point? Okay, fine. All right, I get it. 9-7 is not good enough. Okay,
for the Lions,
cool.
It is.
And that, okay, I'm gonna get on that in a second. But if you want to say in the vacuum 9-7 isn't good enough, okay, cool, I'm with that. But you don't fire Jim Caldwell to hire an unproven Matt Patricia. That was my thing. I felt. No, go ahead, Art.
Yeah, you know what's funny is when you look at Galladay, Slay, all of these great players. they're all complaining about the same thing, and it seems like it's the organization as a whole. Sure, you have certain coaches, during their time of play, but when will Lions fans understand that it's more than just, oh, Stafford can't throw or Jared Goff can't throw? Like, it just seems like an overwhelming sense of excuses when it seems like the organization as a whole does have to take some of that blame.
They do. It is a bad organization, and I'm stepping up and saying the organization is no longer bad. These guys are going to have to take a couple years. They're going to get their asses kicked for 2 or 3 years. But here's what I always counter with people saying, well, the reason they lost is because of Matthew Stafford. All right. Name me every Lions quarterback that has a playoff win since the Fords took over. It's only one dude.
Wait. I want to say Eric Kramer.
You are correct. Eric Kramer is the only guy that has a playoff victory for the still Lions. Remembered it. Now, let me give you another name. Rodney Peete. Rodney Peete could not win here. Rodney Peete goes to Philadelphia. First year wins a playoff game. Now, probably shouldn't count because it came against the Lions. But the dude looked fantastic. So,
are there my bookie odds for Stafford winning a Super Bowl? Because I feel like you mentioned that, and history repeats itself. You see Lions players leave and do great things. I don't know.
I mean, you know what? One of the most, I think one of the most recent examples of a Lions player leaving here that hurt me because I did not want him to go. Cliff Averill. I don't know what happened, but Cliff Averill to me was a dog. Something happened with his contract. He didn't get his money. He ended up going to the Seattle Seahawks for less money, wins a Super Bowl immediately that season, and he could have been the Super Bowl MVP.
Right. I think Cliff Averill got fed up with what's going on here. The 0-16 season. They finished 4-0 during the preseason.
Yep.
Final game was in Buffalo. So, they're all happy and everything. And so I went up to Cliff Averill, talked to him about, I asked him this question. If opposing teams looked at the Lions game film, what would they see? And he said he'd see players leaping off the tape. He says, we're good, we're in sync. This is the best I've felt since I've been here. I'm like, all right, cool. So I use that quote. Then they go 0-16. So I think Cliff Averill was like, you know what? I think we finally got something here. No, we don't. And we're not even close. And I got fooled. So get me out of here.
Wow. Yeah, that's the Lions right now. Let me see if any more quotes came out right now about Dan Campbell. He did state, let me see real quick. It says that he doesn't feel they're in the need. He said he loved to go into the draft, not having to draft off need, but rather the best available. We guess we'll get back in more into that in one second about what he means about the best available.
Hey, it's Stick, and I am live right now inside Grow Green. If you go to growgreenmi.com right now, take advantage of their dank deals. They got everything so you can grow the best possible product you can. Even nutrients, water, and look, you just turn around and your very own. Now that he's fully bloomed, he's beautiful and ready to go. Thank you, Grow Green, for supplying us with everything we need.
Welcome back. This is the Woodward Sports Network. It's the Baligian Bell Show. This is me, Kory Woods, with Terry Foster filling in right now. So to wrap this up about this Lions, Dan Campbell says that he'd love to go into the draft and not have to draft off need, but the best available. And best available.
Like
that's that's also one of those things that kind of sticks across with Lions fans. Best available. How is that?
No,
how have you seen that work out?
Brother, it was the worst available. That's what they drafted.
So how do you feel? How do you think that stacks up for the Lions going with Dan Campbell saying that?
I don't think Lion fans want to hear that because they've already been hurt by those words.
Yeah.
Best available. But you sort of have to say, whoever's on the board, we've done our homework so well that we're going to draft the best player available. and then you have to get people to buy into it, and then those people actually have to be the best available. What the Lions did is they said, we're going to draft the best available, and then they drafted some scrubs that nobody else wanted. Tried to be the smartest guy in the room. So we're hearing the same words, but we have to hope and pray that the actions are different. I personally think it's going to be different with these guys. Now, you're not going to notice it next year. You're not going to notice it the year after that. But at the end of year 2 and the beginning of year 3, we need to be looking at this team and say, okay, these dudes are dangerous.
Look, the Lions have so many holes that they need to fill right now, and they have this number 7 overall pick. In your opinion, what would be the wrong pick? I know we talked about it on the Morning Woodward show last week, and we said the wrong pick would be drafting another cornerback in the first round. What do you feel would be the wrong pick for them at this stage?
I would agree with that because I don't think the secondary is that bad. I think, the wrong pick is getting another defensive back. The wrong pick is not selecting a linebacker. The wrong pick is not selecting maybe a later round defensive end who can cause havoc on the field. The NFL is pretty simple. You got to cause turnovers. You're not going to shut a team down, even with the best defense. What you want that defense to do is take the ball away and make that quarterback look around and fear for his life. That's what you need. If you don't get players that are able to do that, that's the wrong pick.
Do you think they should go in the direction? So with you're just saying right now, that sounds like you're talking about either the Micah Parsons or the Kwity Paye's of the world with that number 7 pick, or trading back and trying to catch them later on.
I would trade back and try to get one of those. That would be the perfect pick. If you can get one of those guys with the 12, 13, 14.
If they could trade back to like a 12 or a 13 and land a Kwity Paye or a Micah Parsons, I believe that's an absolute steal.
Steal. And then maybe you get a 3rd round pick or future 2nd and 3rd or something like that. That's an absolute steal, but that's what they need. And like last year, you got the number 3 pick and you can't trade down. And then I forget his name already. Quinn says, what's wrong with drafting a cornerback at 3? If the guy could play, he could play. That's exactly what he said.
Well, here's my mindset, and I say this over and over. It sounds like a broken record. People, I probably should just put it on a T-shirt. You do not draft a cornerback with the 3rd round pick unless you're telling me that he is about to be Deion Sanders or Charles Woodson.
Right. And we didn't see that.
We didn't see that in the first. Because we saw it with Deion his first year. We saw it with Charles Woodson his first year, and that carried over throughout the course of their career. Now, I'm not going to knock Okudah too much because he can't help where he got drafted at.
That is true. But Charles Woodson and especially Deion Sanders could hurt you in 2 ways. They could be lockdown corners, especially Deion Sanders, or he could return a punt or a kickoff.
And actually, Deion 3 ways, because Deion sometimes lined up as wide receiver.
Right. Not often, but
not often, but he was a nice little gadget.
Okay, he's one of the premier athletes of all sports. So if you can get someone like that, yeah, you bring him in. Charles Woodson, when I look at him eyeball to eyeball, I said, this is not a cornerback. This is a linebacker. Because Charles Woodson is big. He's a big, and he's fast. So if you look at him, eyeball him, say, okay, I used the number 3 pick on Charles Woodson. Hall of Fame player, by the way.
Yep.
But Charles Woodson looked like he could destroy people.
Yeah, I've seen him in person. Chuck ain't no joke. He's a man. For his size, he looks like he could hurt somebody for real.
And he did. He did hurt people.
But yeah, quarterback for me, that would just be the wrong pick. If Kyle Pitts falls to them, it's just like if Kyle Pitts falls to them and they draft Micah Parsons, I would not be mad. I just don't see how you look at Kyle Pitts and not pick him?
Well, you don't pick him because it's the Detroit Lions, and you won't. Maybe they won't pick him because they are afraid of the backlash from the public.
I mean, they already had backlash when they drafted T.J. Hockenson, and I cried. These guys weren't there. Yeah, okay, true. You don't want to start off your new regime, your new era. The face of your new era, your new pick is a tight end.
Because you're supposed to be different. You're supposed to be the people that are humble, fired up, and know better than the clowns that ran this organization before. And even if it's the right pick, would they have enough guts to actually pick Kyle Pitts?
Okay, now here's my thing. Let's say they show that, hey, they take what Terry says. Not saying it's, they take your scenario like, okay, you know what? We have to show that we're different than before. So we're gonna go typical anti-Lions pick. We're gonna draft somebody like Micah Parsons, if it comes to that, or Penei Sewell. I think if he fell, I would take him over Kyle Pitts. That's a steal. But what if you pass on the Kyle Pitts and he falls, so you pass on him, and he ends up being that generational talent?
Yeah, well, you messed up.
That he's projected, because they're saying he's one of the best tight end prospects in a couple of decades.
Right. But I guess you take that risk. But if your scouting is showing he's a generational player, screw the fans, take him. If your scouting is showing he's a good player, let him go.
Good point. I like that. I think Lions fans will be able to get behind that. And I just want Lions fans to do this before we move on to the next topic. Is just that, look, I have the same PTSD as a Lions fan. A lot of Lions fans have the same PTSD. It's, you see them doing these same things and doing the same thing over and over and expecting new results. It's insanity. But this is a new regime, and it just, what they're doing and how they've gone about it, it just feels different, which is why, like, if whatever they decide to do with this pick, I'm behind it, outside of drafting the quarterback.
Yeah, once again, I'm setting myself up for failure.
Okay.
Because normally I don't believe in anything the Lions do, and I get in trouble because of that too. Now I'm kind of buying in. I like the way they did the research. I like the fact that they got a coach that when you get beyond his bluster, he said something very, very astute and smart that no Lion coach has ever said. We're looking to exploit the weaknesses on the other teams and take advantage of that. Now, other Lion coaches may have done that, but they never talk that way.
Yeah.
It's like, let's get out here and be the best ball club we can be. He's saying, with the busted kneecaps and all this stuff, we're going to exploit your weakness. And the reason that resonates with me is because, I always worked on this story that I never wrote, was what's wrong with the Lions and what do they need? And from talking to people in the NFL, they said two things. Draft to beat teams in your division. Be better than the 3 teams or 4 teams, whatever it is at the time, in your division. That's all you got to worry about. If you can do that, you're going to be a success. Lions didn't do that. And then the second thing they said is, look at the teams in your division, try to exploit whatever weaknesses they have. If Chicago has a bad quarterback, take advantage of that. Chicago has a poor running game, make sure that you are able to storm through that, get the ball away from them, and score. They didn't do that. So, but when Dan Campbell, amongst the kneecaps and we're going to kick people's ass and knock the door down, he did say that. And that's one thing that people missed with all the bluster.
And again, I think we talked about this last week. The kneecaps thing, it just seems to only hurt national media. Every player that has come here, every player that has heard it, even former players, Lions players, like Ndamukong Suh, they love what they think Dan Campbell's about to bring here. It's just the people who I don't want to call them non-competitors, because there have been some NFL players.
Well, you have to understand, the Lions are looked at as a clown show. So a guy comes in there talking about kneecaps and everything, he's going to be made fun of. Now, win some ball games,
they'll
make
revisit
the playoffs, and they'll say, hey, you know, when he talked about kneecaps, I was all behind it.
Well, let's go ahead and get over to this James Harden quote, just to get back to basketball. James Harden.
See, you don't like him. I could just tell by, you got that shit-eating grin on your face. What? You don't respect the man.
How about this? I'll get myself back together, and then I'll get back on James Harden in right 1 second.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys and ladies. This is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Hey, welcome back to Woodward Sports. You're watching the Baligian and Bell shows. Kory Woods.
No, man, I'm a little upset with you.
Uh-oh.
James Harden changed his game for you.
For me.
For you. James Harden realized he had shortcomings. He changed his attitude. He changed his game. He changed his team. He changed everything for you. And you still disrespecting him. You don't like him. Say it.
I don't like James Harden.
Okay, what has he done in a New York Nets? I keep want to call him New Jersey, but they're in Brooklyn. Since he's been to Brooklyn, what has he done to piss you off?
I'm gonna be honest. Nothing in Brooklyn, but how he got to Brooklyn was not a fan of it. But the thing about it is, I have not been a fan of James Harden for quite some time. I just think I'm just not a fan of his game. His offensive game is just phenomenal, but when it comes to the postseason, as great as he is in the regular season, that guy in the postseason is gone. He disappears. It's like he forgets how to play basketball, and
he hasn't been on a real team.
The thing about it is, and here's where I have a problem with that. Is it true that he has not been on a quote unquote real team? I'll give you that.
Not like the one he's on now.
I'll give you that. Not like the one he's on now. But here's the thing about it. In Houston, everything that he wanted to surround himself around, they got it to him. They got him everything that he needed to succeed. They got Dwight Howard in there when Dwight Howard was still good. They got CP3 in there before he became, well, take that back. CP3 went to OKC and proved that, hey, I can still ball. Now he's is with the Suns, but with the Rockets, they got him CP3, didn't work out. Got him Russell Westbrook, didn't work out. And I'm like, then after I guess after everything finally doesn't work out, he then throws the team under the bus to get to Brooklyn. And now, to his credit, he was right. They don't have enough. They lost 20 straight games in a row. I think part of that is because Harden wasn't there. But
what did James Harden have to do in Houston? He had to hit 3-point shots. He had to hit the more difficult shots with being double teamed. He had to. How do they play? They always played him to his right. So they had defenses devised to slow him down, and he didn't handle it right. Now, what does he have to do in the playoffs this year? He doesn't have to hit big shots. He can hit an occasional shot. He passes. Pretend to play defense. That's all he's got to do. It's just different now.
Yeah, it's different, but, he's basically back with the same coach. Mark D'Antoni's over there. Well, Mike D'Antoni's over there. It's Steve Nash. Amari Stoudemire, who do they play under? Mike D'Antoni. So it's kind of like he went back over to the same system, just with better players.
Yeah, well, it's a players' league. I got news for you. It doesn't matter who's coaching. Like Steve Kerr gets all this credit for being a great coach. But he's got Steph Curry. He had KD. He had Draymond Green. He's supposed to win. Now he's got injuries, and all of a sudden, hey, they back down at the basement.
I will say this in defense of Steve Kerr. Mark Jackson, got to give him credit for the defense, the Warriors' defense when during their finals run. He's the one that is responsible for that defense. But people tend to forget this. Mark Jackson did not give Draymond Green any type of significant playing time. When Steve Kerr came over, that's when they took off because he let Draymond be that guy, that point forward, the utility guy that he is. And I don't think he gets enough credit for that.
He didn't. Mark Jackson didn't see what Draymond was all about. But you know what? The whole league didn't say. That's why he was That's why he was a second-round pick. And Mark Jackson, man, rubbed the team the wrong way. All you got to do is to succeed in the NBA, know a little bit more than the players, and don't be an ass. You know who we look at as a great coach? Phil Jackson. Do you know who should have been Phil Jackson?
Oh, wait. Doug Collins?
Doug Collins should have been Phil Jackson. But Doug Collins was so high-strung. Doug Collins was he was dickish. That's why he wasn't Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson came in chilling out, wearing his little polos and his little lumberjack shirts during practice, and just chilled out. He succeeded in two places, because grown men don't want to be yelled at all the time. Grown men don't want to have their heads rubbed. You know, grown men want to be treated with respect.
No. Interesting pivot right there, because now I got to ask you about something, because you opened up a lane for a question that I've really wanted to answer, and it's about the Pistons under Rick Carlisle. I've heard rumors, can't get them verified enough because it seems like it's such a taboo subject, about Rick Carlisle being a dickish, and that's the reason why that rift went the way it did, and he saw himself out of Detroit.
What happened was Rick Carlisle pissed off the wrong people. Carlisle thought he was so in that he could disrespect the owner, which is a mistake.
Mr. D?
Mr. D. I heard they had a little incident on the elevator, and Mr. D was pissed, and so that's not a smart thing to do.
Yeah, because I heard there was one incident where he was just like, Rick Carlisle was just disrespecting team officials, and then like he wouldn't speak to the players when they were together. It was a whole lot of like knick-knack stuff.
Yeah, it was knick-knack. How's that going? Knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a bone or something. It was petty stuff. But he could have survived if he didn't piss off Bill Davison.
How do you piss off the owner? Like, how do you disrespect the owner? How do you disrespect the guy giving you a check?
There's a screw loose somewhere.
Okay.
There's got to be. Every day I'd be like, hey, Mr. D, you paying me $3 million a year? What's up? You my favorite owner. That's all he had to do, and he didn't do it. But, you gotta play the game. And, as quiet as it's kept, Brown wasn't the easiest guy to get. Larry Brown wasn't the easiest guy to get along with.
Oh,
he pissed Chauncey Billups off every day. But there was a method to his madness. He wasn't cussing out Chauncey just to be doing it, which some coaches do. He was making Chauncey a better player, and Chauncey Billups saw what he was doing, and at some point accepted it and says, hey, this guy's making me a better player. I can lead a team to a championship. Because when Chauncey Billups came here, he was considered a guy, okay, do you really want to deal with him? Do you want to deal with his BS? No. Pistons said, okay, we'll take him. He came in here, became a different player under Larry Brown, accepted it, and Larry Brown was rough on Chauncey. Chauncey would even tell the media, like, I don't even want to be here today because this dude is just messing with me.
I heard there was one, I don't know how true it is, I heard there was one story where Chauncey Billups had got like I think it's like a almost near a 30-point triple-double, and then Larry Brown went up to him and was like, you obviously don't know how to play point guard for me.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you if that's true if you tell me which Piston player had sex with another Pistons player's wife. we gotta make a trade here.
I don't know.
Because you know. Mrs. So-and-so had sex with who?
I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew. I guess I'll get that story later.
Damn. All right. I thought I could.
I don't know. I really don't. I'm trying to think. Is it 80s or the current?
It was 2004.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I want to touch that one.
All right. I just threw it out there.
I'll leave that one alone.
I will leave it alone.
But yeah, so let's get into this last part. The COVID vaccines at Ford Field. The shot was given at Ford. You want to get into that one?
Yeah. How come black people are not taking the shot? Does this have to do with the Tuskegee experiment? All right, here I got a message for black people out there. If anybody black is listening, take the damn shot. If they were just given the shot to black people exclusively and not to white people, you should be concerned. They're giving it to everybody. This is not the Tuskegee experiment all over again. What community were hit the hardest by COVID? Blacks, Hispanics, Native American. They're trying to help your ass now. So take the shot.
I have nothing against the shot. I'm going to go to my doctor first just to kind of get a checkup, because that's one thing that I just need to do at my age. Go ahead and get a checkup. And I know I'm allergic. No, I know some of the things that I'm allergic to, but before I go get the shot, I want to see everything that I'm allergic to before I just inject anything.
Smart move.
But what I've been doing right now, like I said, I think we talked about last week, when going to natural remedies, but I don't know why our community is just so dead set against the shot. I wish I knew. I guess they think we're going to turn into some I Am Legend type mutants later on.
We don't trust the government because I think they think the government is not on our side.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the black community, where's our distrust from? The government, police, authority. They don't think that they're on our side. They don't support us. That they make things comfortable for the majority at our expense. So I think this is one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm not taking the shot because the man is trying to get me.
Yeah, now to your point, that's one of the things that is kind of like, barbershop talk, where it's like, hey, Detroit is one of the blackest cities in the country, and this is where they picked Detroit to get the first rollout of the mass vaccines in Detroit. Like, what's up with that? Is this feels like the Tuskegee experiment all over again? That's the conversations that I was hearing, and I know of several friends who have already went and gotten the COVID shot, and they said that they felt, a little out of it, arm was sore for a day or two, but they also said that has happened with most shots that I've gotten.
Right.
So I don't think
but I will say this. If white people are taking trains, planes, and automobiles from outstate Michigan to get there, don't worry about it. They're not out to get you. 74 or 73% of the people at Ford Field were white. About 4% were Asian, and everybody's coming in, but we're like, we're good. I don't want to take this shot. Yeah, consult with your doctor. Talk to your people first. But I think as a community, we need to, I'm going to rhyme. As a community, we need to take the shot for immunity. That's my Jesse Jackson for the day.
I was about to say, that sounds so Jesse Jackson. Take the shot for the community so you can have your immunity.
Or being like, take the shot for the community so we can get our immunity. That's the best I can do.
Oh, man.
Hey, Terry, I wanted to ask you, so I'm actually going to Ford Field.
Another white person going down there. Take the shot. Go ahead.
I'm getting a limo. They're picking me up from here, taking me down there. What are some things to expect? Because I'm not going to lie, I'm nervous. Over the weekend, I got a text that said, hey, we saved your spot. Thursday morning, you need to be at Ford Field, Gate G. I think one of the only times I'm actually excited to go to Ford Field because I'm going to be winning. But
right, and the Lions won't lose.
Right. But what should I expect, like, within the next 24 hours after taking it?
Okay, I'm the wrong person to talk to because nothing happened.
You didn't get tired?
I wasn't tired. My arm wasn't sore. I didn't have cold flashes. I didn't get hot. Nothing.
Yeah, I heard the reaction is different. You know, it varies from person to person.
But Terry's literally the only person that I've talked to that has gotten the shot and no symptoms at all.
I have had one friend who said they just didn't.
Nothing at all.
But you know what? The majority of people do not have any reaction. But we hear about the people who have reaction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've heard that me taking the vaccine is the worst thing that I can do, and
I heard that too. The anti-vaxxers are all over the place.
one of my good friends was like, I don't really want to talk to you because you're taking the vaccine. And I was like, oh, so our friendship,
really?
our friendship is this. And he's like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. And, you know, he's a big Alex Jones InfoWars guy. So,
But you know what? Why do people get in your business?
Exactly.
I'm not telling anyone that doesn't want to take it, don't take it or else I'm going to kill you. I'm suggesting that you take it and take one for the community. I'm not demanding, and I'm not going to be pissed at you if you decide not to do it.
You know what's crazy? Some of the same people that were anti-vaccine were also anti-mask.
Yes.
Some of those same people. And for me, I didn't think the mask did anything. I just really didn't. But at the same time, I'm around too many people. I'm around some of my older family members. I would rather err on the side of caution. Right. Because I would rather wear a mask and I find out it didn't do anything than to not wear the mask and then I end up infecting somebody.
And I started wearing cool masks. I wore Pistons mask, Tiger mask, Red Wings, CMU, Fire Up Chips.
Oh.
So I just wore them all. Made a statement. So I was having a good time.
Sorry, Art. He's it's a Mac thing.
Oh, you know what? We don't even consider y'all rivals.
Oh,
we don't even
go.
think. You know what? At Central Michigan, I was up there for 4 years and 2 weeks. We never even talked about freaking Eastern Michigan University. Now we talked about Western, but we didn't talk about y'all. In fact, we felt sorry for y'all.
Hey, we feel sorry for ourselves too. So it happens.
So
you know what? Eastern is trying to turn the tide up. We just lost Coach Murphy though to the Motor City Cruise. Honestly not too mad about that because he didn't do much there. But the football team is they're trying.
Well, why don't y'all go watch them?
I watched them. The problem
you and your boy, and that's it. If you go to an Eastern Michigan game, you just look at the crowd. You don't know if that's the crowd pre-COVID or post or during COVID. It's the same. Say I'm wrong.
You're not wrong. It just hurts. It just hurts. It's not supposed to be that way. It's not. No, don't. I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting
it's a fine school. In fact, I was on Eastern's campus for the first time 2 years ago.
Okay.
I've been to Eastern, but all I did was go right to the football stadium or go right to the basketball arena. Mm-hmm. I never walked the campus. I never went to any other building until my son took a tour, and I didn't know y'all had a South Campus. And there's actually academic buildings there.
Yeah, we our campus is they've improved it. The Eastern that you saw 2 years ago, it didn't always look like that. And even the Eastern that it looks like right now, it didn't look like it did 2 years ago. They've done a hell of a job improving it.
You got some sweet looking dorms there.
Yeah, You know what? I've never stayed on dorms. Never stayed on campus.
Were you a commuter or did you just stay in Ipsy?
I stayed in Ipsy. My cousin lived up there. He went to Eastern and had an apartment. So I just said, hey, when I transferred to Eastern, I went ahead and ended up rooming with him.
Now, you're an Eagle or a Huron?
I'm an Eagle.
Okay, all right.
Hey, what you got, Fish?
One quick thing, Kory. I saw this over the weekend. I want to get your thoughts. Logan Paul WWE WrestleMania. Did you hear about it?
Yeah, I heard about it.
We can wrap the show now.
Yeah, we can wrap the show. But I'll wrap the show up on this because, you know, I can't say no to Fish. I'll give you my thoughts on Logan Paul and WWE. It is a smart move for WWE. Smart move for Logan Paul. It is a mutually beneficial thing because they're just capitalizing off each other's fire.
Why don't you inform the rest of us who have no idea what the hell is going on?
Okay, so Logan Paul is just some internet joke. But I guess you gotta say internet sensation.
They call him social media influencer.
Social media influencer who is, I guess now celebrity boxing matches are becoming a thing. So he has, I guess, does he have a fight? Is that Jake Paul has a fight coming up?
Yeah, Jake Paul's got a fight up against Ben Askren, and Floyd Mayweather was supposed to do an exhibition bout with Logan Paul, but that
was that the one that Clarissa Shields challenged?
Yeah, Clarissa challenged Jake Paul. Yeah,
Should be
they're
his
brothers.
ass.
Yeah. So Logan, Logan's gonna be on WWE SmackDown next week. I guess he's gonna be involved in some type of angle of Sami Zayn. I have no idea what that is, but you know what? We'll get into that next time. Terry, once again, it's been a pleasure.
I had a good time with you.
Had
3
a great
days in a row.
Now I'm about to go home and go ice my head. And yeah, we're wrapping this thing up. Thanks again for tuning in to Baligian and Bell. But the Woods and Foster takeover, I think we did a little bit better.
We did. Eat some chicken noodle soup. That'll make
I'll eat some chicken noodle soup. All right, you guys have a great afternoon.